Oh, you went to Booths for your tea?
Yeah, I go there regularly.
How old are you?
Well, I don't have anything. I don't have anything for Jess.
To live for.
What are you on about, you drama queen? I'm saying Booths. It's for people who are. What's wrong with a kebab shop or a Kentucky or?
I've never been to a kebab shop.
Whilst you're out and about.
I don't know. I like going to the. They've got a fishmonger and
Was this a nursery rhyme or something? So what's going on here?
I always have a chat with them. What's the best catch for the week?
Right. What do they say, crabs?
They don't.
What do they often say? What?
Well, this week we've got some haking.
All right.
Fantastic. Brilliant.
I like it. I have a lot of spare time. I venture around the supermarket within the lockdown rules, of course.
Yeah, within lockdown rules.
We'll cut this out.
Yeah, it's not interesting. It's just detour.
It is for us. You're an eccentric character, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you to our 4 sponsors for supporting our podcast: Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Milltown Pies, Alexander Grace Law, Jez and Lisa's Spoonful of Sweets, and SPE Furnishings. Links to their websites are available in the show notes and on our website. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they're released.
Right. Okay. So for a few years, Stan used to. The second team used to bowl with new ball every week, which were great. But they were cheap ones from like India or whatever. They had no seam on them at all. They were like them fairground apple get. They were crap. And they'd swing for a little bit and then they'd just go dead. And it'd be a nightmare. So I kept saying to him all the time, Stan, this is rubbish. We need to play with, perhaps not brand new Lancashire League balls, but, great spares or whatever. The lads are bowling with different balls, whatever. They won't have it, talking about costing this and costing that. So anyway, we were at him up. Marcus were at him, I were at him, Scott were at him, Benny were at him. And anyway, big do's and little do's. He finally says, yeah, you're right. So second team started to play with Lancashire League balls. Scott were captain. So Stan the ultimate control freak, has to look after everything. Has to be, you name it. Right? So he's got more balls in his boot than soft meat. So Scott says, right, Stan, I'm captain. What happens? God forbid, you get called up at a junior game in the morning. You can't get here. We're on to the ball to start with. It's pathetic. It's amateur hour. I need a box of balls. Right, Scott, you know what we've gone through for these. So he gives Scott a box of brand new Lancashire League balls. And I want you to guard them with your life, Scott. Scott says, right, no problem. Fast forward 2 or 3 hours. Beneducci and Scott have conflabbed. And they've timed it, so Stan's walking down, and all of a sudden Scott walks out with this box and goes, all right, Stan, I'm just going to put these in my boot, whatever, and then pretends to fall over. And as he falls over, throws these balls in air, and Stan goes, no! Like proper like slow motion, no! Well, they were all spares, weren't they, from spares bag?
We took all the new balls out. Out of the plastic bags.
Oh, brilliant! Absolutely brilliant.
Put dog balls in the plastic bags. Put the plastic bags back in the new ball box, and done him like an absolute kipper.
Done like a kipper, and he didn't like it. Didn't it? Brilliant.
That is fun. I've not heard that story before.
Brilliant.
I've never heard that. That is fantastic. And what did he say once he'd been? Because he can't take a joke. What was his reaction once he'd realised he'd been had over?
Initially, they were like, yeah, I knew it was wind up, and he didn't, and then he coughed it, and he laughed. He said it was good.
Oh, brilliant! No, that's fantastic.
Yeah, Jess, I forgot to mention earlier. Do you remember that game, Ramsbottom away, when I dropped Chris Harris at mid-off, Ryan-esque, and I was 15-year-old?
You know.
I'll tell you the story behind that.
Subfielding.
Yeah. I was 12 months at second, right. And Nicky got injured at Rammy away batting, and you were batting first, and he had to come off. And it had been about, I don't know, perhaps 95.
Okay.
And Nicky retired hurt, so first team ran back to the club, said we need someone to come over, and I was 12th man in, and I don't know what the conversations were, but before I knew it, I were on way to Ramsbottom. So Nicky came back and batted towards the end of the inning, but then I had to field away at Rammy. And it was when Ryan were bowling sharp, left arm sharp, and they were bowling from on paper mill end. And I were at mid-on, and they come running, and there were quite a few fork on as well. And I were only a young lad, and it was wet wicket, and I don't know how, but it come right at me, and I should have caught it, and I didn't. I dropped it, and he ended up the game in the balance then. And if we'd have got him, we were in the checks. We didn't have many, and they ended up carrying his bat and they won game. Absolutely heartbroken. But yeah, I was only a young lad, and that was one of the first times. And I tell you where, this is brilliant. I went home that night, Sunday night, I was absolutely gutted, honestly, gutted. Sat in front of the TV, in front of fire to go to bed. And Frank Henty rang me from Clubhouse on club phone, and just basically kept saying, look, don't worry about it. It's not your fault. Tried your best, and you didn't hard for the rest of the innings. And that tried to make me feel better. And I was like, I tell you what, even at 15, even like whatever I were, 15 or whatever, I'm thinking, that's brilliant, that. He has no need to do that. That's fantastic. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have Sean Flegler's year, and Harris batted 82 balls for 36.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I'd have caught it, we'd have won game.
Yeah. Yeah. It says it on here. Yeah. It says Gavin Shields dropped him. What a tosser. My Frank Henty, so. 23 overs, 5 for 26.
Say that again.
23 overs, 26 runs, 5 wickets, 11 maidens. Your nemesis, who you model your bowling on.
Well, exactly, yeah. Yeah.
You didn't play that day, Jez. Any idea why? Couldn't be arsed. Summer holiday, broken neck, one of them things.
Yeah, it could have been that. Yeah, still out boozing. 31. No, I don't know.
It didn't work, surely, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it must have been. It was June, so it can't have been football. I don't think I were injured around that time. No, I didn't miss many in Flegs this year, but no, I don't know what that were about.
But absolutely gutted. But hell of an experience, that, hell of an experience.
Yeah, it is. It's you're playing against a side like Rammy as well. Any Lancashire League game, they're big games, aren't they? Right, good, that's great. Just one last point from me, then I'll go back to the two Joes to see if there's anything before we go into the questions. And this is part question, but it's also something I wanted to ask you. It's a question from someone who sent it through to us. You finished probably, quite young in your cricket career. What? And you don't have to tell us exactly, why. If there was anything, any reason you don't want to disclose. Why did you finish that early? In playing, cricket for Lowerhouse? You continued to be involved, but why did you finish early?
A few things. I actually finished in 2004. I stopped playing in 2004 for 3 years. And when I finished playing in 2004, that were, a bit of a disagreement about, a few things. But I never fell out with anybody, and I still supported the club and still came on. Do you know what I mean? I was still supporting functions, and I was still watching the games and going to away games. But I always wanted to. I thought I've got something left here. I want to get back and play. And then I came back in 2007. But by that point, Stan was doing a fantastic job. He was very early in the piece in starting. His piece of work with the youngsters. And the way I looked at it, I thought, right, I want to come back. I don't want to go anywhere else. Lowerhouse is my club. I want to play at Lowerhouse, so I'll go back and give it a whirl. Cause, I think if I didn't, I'd have regretted it. I was only 27. I was only sort of 26 when I made the decision. And I spoke to Stan, and Stan said, and Paul Stanley, and he said, yeah, we'll welcome you back with open arms, no problem. But the second team, is. I never, ever were going to get, had any dream of playing it first team again. But I wanted to play the second team. I was more than good enough to do so. I felt, and I was a little bit older. The insecurities that I had previously, perhaps I didn't have as many. I've worked a few things out, so I thought, I fancy this. But when I, start the season, it was pretty apparent that it was a settled team. And listen, I was on board with that. It was, the second team at that point in 2007 was experienced second 11 and some youngsters coming through. Now, you don't have to be Hercule Poirot or dear to work out that, a club doesn't want too many then 27-year-olds with no chance of playing first team cricket, blocking too many spaces up. And listen, I was all right with that. I played half of the season perhaps in the second team, and I were in, and and it was made very clear that you need to play third team, and I was happy with that. It was no problem. So by that point, I was playing games in the third team and the second team at 27, which pissed me off at times. Sorry for my language, but actually it was great because there were some days where, like for example, tell you a story about Matt Walker. I remember playing at Rottenstone, and we batted and it weren't a great track, and we've bowled first, and they've managed to just get just over 100. They shouldn't have got anywhere near, but they have done. And we said, we should still have enough. And I can't remember who was supposed to be opening the batting, but basically the fact was, if I were playing it 30, I'm opening it back and end the discussion. Otherwise, do you know what I mean? Not being a big head, but I wanted to get back in the second team, and I wasn't getting anything by batting at 5 or 6. So anyway, I said, right, who's opening batting? And Matt Walker, poof, me, like real dudes. Job's a good one. So it goes out to bat, and very quickly it became apparent that he was going to be a good player. When I think the fall of the wicket, I don't know because I don't have the scorecard or anything like that, but I think I got 9, and I think he was 70 odd.
Right.
And it were absolutely, it were like night and day. And and I'd played a year and a half in first team, and anything that was remotely pitched up, he was smashing into cricket to concrete stand, and I was like hitting it back in the back then to third man for one. And but you can be teaches you humility this game if nothing else, don't it? And that day I got to know John Walker very well, and Sue, and and that were great. And I got to know Lewis Marsden and Mickey Lee and people like that. And I played games with them, which then sort of helped to the next part because towards the end of that season, that was the game. That was the year where I batted with Joe. And to be honest with you, I couldn't be bothered netting on Tuesday and Thursday, and I had to because I weren't good enough to not do. So basically, to put a 10 out on this bit, I just said, look, I've sort of fallen out of love with playing a little bit, but I want to put something back into a club really that's given me loads. I still want to be around the place, and if I can help, I'll help. And Stan wanted, said, do you fancy helping out with second team? Paul Stanley was captain, very good second 11 captain. So he was all right with it, and so I didn't offer a right lot into the game tactics and stuff like that because Paul Stanley nailed all that. But what I could do was I could take the warm up, allow Stanley to get involved in the warm up, talk to the young lads and stuff like that, and I really got a lot from that. I really, really, really did, and I really enjoyed it. So much so that I mean, this might be a conversation for a bit later on, but that year that we finished runners up after the journey that we'd been on, I was prouder than anything that I've ever achieved. It was phenomenal to see them young lads who'd come from being 15-year-old and getting bullied every week. The likes of Lewis Marsden deserves enormous credit for for what he did. And the likes of him, Mickey Lee, Josh Lavin, Sean Eaton to play. Those lads week in week out were taking batteries. They turned it round. Sure, a bit of stones, proper Lowerhouses, and then they finished runners up, and I was proud as punch. I was proud to be associated with them. When it was brilliant.
Yeah, no, Gav, I think what you've done there is you've answered us around the cricket side of it. It fizzled out. Whether you want to comment about you and Matt Stanley and Stan being in back room discussing a rota or whatever it were called. And you, like you said, you fell out of love with it. But a lot of people who do that just walk away, become bitter and twisted, and you see them every 10 years, and all they do is whinge and moan about the chances they should have had, but you didn't. And that was my next point, is to talk about the second 11. And from what I saw from an outsider looking in, you put so much into that, but the players got a lot out of it, but you also got a lot out of it. And it must have been great, fun working with Paul Stanley, and I bet you had some great crack in that dressing room as well. Yeah. With all the young lads and teaching them a few.
It was superb. And then the second team very quickly went from a couple of experienced heads to just a group of young lads. And you for about 3 seconds, you thought, should I get some pads here? And no. And it was no fun losing 12 or 13 on bounce that Aggers referred to, and it wasn't.
No.
And I remember going back to the clubhouse, and speaking to, Rusty had always asked, and people would ask how have you got on today, and blah, 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 and bloody hell, this is, stick with them, they're good lads. They're getting bullied, that's all it is.
Yeah.
They're getting all headed, and, and they did really well, but the support within the club was there. I remember Reece Woodworth struggling with his run-up. I had a word with Johnny Russell one Thursday night. Johnny Russell, has a bit of a reputation as, not caring about cricket, just being, a really one at lads and being a really good bowler. Couldn't be further from truth. Do you know what I mean? He really cared about his cricket. And, I had a word with him if he could help, Reece out with his run-up. And over one night, he nailed it. He had the ball to no ball again. And then Reece could worry about where he will land it, not where his feet were going.
Yeah.
And it were a pleasure to watch him. It really were. And like I said, the lads at such a young age, the job that Lewis Marsden, Aggers as well. Aggers did really well. Aggers took it on because there were no, but he knew that there were no one out, and he did a really job. He lived and breathed it. But Lewis Marsden, really did a good job, and he deserves a lot of credit. Yeah, no, that's brilliant. That it's good to see that it meant that much to you, and you've got so many good memories about it all. Joe, anything else about the cricketing and then the managing the second team before we move on to other stories? Is there anything you've, Joe Martin?
I think just as we'll come across on the podcast, the passion that Gav speaks about the second team now and when he was manager is kind of reciprocal, I guess. There is no difference in how he is talking about what he wants from the second, or what the second team achieved and what he wanted from the second team when we were playing. And do you know what? That gave us loads of confidence to just go and play cricket. We didn't have to worry about the fact that everyone else were older than us and bigger than us. We just could, Gavin Paul Stanley are backing us here to do well. So let's make sure that we repay them really with it. And I've said on the podcast loads of times how much Gav and Paul Stanley had an effect on where we are now. Without those two, we wouldn't have the success that we have now.
Hear you. No, I agree, Joe. It's lovely things to say. Dooch, anything before we move on to some funny stories or some tales?
Well, I've got a few tales, but I'll just wonder. I'll leave that for now. But I do have one cricket-related tale that I wanted to get Gav's recollection of, and it's when you broke your toe at Nelson.
When you
broke your toe at Nelson.
When you broke my toe at Nelson.
Do you want to tell that story?
Toes just don't break, Joe. It were a rotund Italian who stood on. I didn't have spikes on. You did, and because I was giving you a good toweling, I was battering you. You stood on my foot.
So we were having a fight during a game,
right,
on the balcony at Nelson when we were waiting to bat. So our openers would have been batting, and me and him were dicking about on balcony scrapping. And obviously I was batting before him. That's why I had my spikes on, and he didn't have his spikes on. And we were fighting on balcony, and I accidentally stood on his toe
mid game. So you had to bat, Gav, with a broken toe.
Yeah, probably. No, it still looked $1 million, Jez, you know what I mean? Dashing left-hander and all that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got quite a telling off, do you remember?
Oh, do I? Yeah. They could give a telling off, though, couldn't it, Paul? Some absolute belters. Were you in second team that time at Ramy? Some belters at Ramy. Well, we generally got slaughtered at Ramy. And those used to have fantastic teas, didn't they, at Ramy? Do you remember? They were ace, weren't they? And another year, same old result. We've got, first innings had gone, and they'd either got $1 million or we'd been bowled out for not very many. And we used to have a right long table, didn't we, in the middle of Ramy. And we're all sat there, and Paul, quite rightly, giving us a telling off, absolute telling off. And we're all there like, and then they came in with teas. And the cake plate had a right big long jam slice. And everything went from whatever Paul were talking about, it matters, and blah, 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 blah. Everybody were just looking at this jam slice, and everyone's just like edging off the chair. And as soon as Paul stopped talking about that, get your teas, everyone's like, whoa, after this jam slice. And it was like an old pile of like legs, arms, and eggs going everywhere. And Paul said, I wish you cared that much about your bloody cricket. And all that, proper laughing his heads off. But he were right.
All about your jam slice. So so then we move on, and we still, crack it only seems like a couple of years ago when we finished, and we'd start, getting together. And I think the pair of us, we try every year to do 2 or 3 different trips, go and watching games, just to support the lads, but also have a planned jolly out. I don't know if we've mentioned this on this podcast before. Gav, just talk us through your memory of that day when we went to Todd, when we went to watch the game away at Todd. Me, you and Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, just talk us through what happened that day.
So, big do's, little do's. I'm up against it straight away, aren't I? I might on beer with Nicky and Jez. And so we get into Todd for when booze is open. And we're going to this booze, we're going to one booze, have a flyer, and then we're going to this next one. And it must have only been 11:45. Door opens, and as you're looking in, about waist height, they were clear, and then waist above were just smoke, Jez, weren't it? Like fag smoke, weren't it? Cigarette smoke. Yeah. So, I can't remember who went in first, but if you can imagine it, first one was in, right on his heels like that, and then there's like a bit of a power, boom, 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 and we all was into bar. Boom, boom, boom. And so we're all looking at each other, and whoever goes to the bar, these two shandy boys drinking like 2.5% old man's mouth, and I'm on hard man's fancy strongbow, right fizzy. So anyway, whoever it ran goes to the bar, and you're looking at your surroundings, aren't you? Thinking, well, I've never been in here before. So you're looking round, and Jess, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're all looking. We're all not scared of a drinker's booze, are we? But we looks around, and we're absolutely dead. Apart where we were, apart from a bottom corner, and in bottom corner, there were probably half a dozen folk sat in like an alcove, weren't they? They didn't have t-shirts on or anything. One of them had a baby on the shoulders, and there was something like Neil Diamond on, weren't they? And they're all like, they're all singing like that. Yeah. They're all like got fags, and they're all like dotting them down. They've all got shorts, whatever they were, and like they've been there all night, and they were only like 11:45. And like, we're all looking at each other thinking, all right, we're up to here, lads. Let's stop up and get out of here. But anyway, so I turn around and they're like 3/4 down their old man's bitter. And I'm thinking, Christ, I'm to head off this. And just as I go like that, I noticed a big dried bogey on top of my pint, on pint glass. Right? And I've gone, and Nicky's gone, what's up? And I've gone, oh, have you seen that? So Nicky's started gipping. And Jez went, what's wrong with you? And I went, have you seen that? And he went, get on with it. And I went, no, I'm not. I'm going to ask him to change it. He went, you're not. We're not coming in here and you're asking to get on with it. Get it drunk. So I'm like, turning my glass round in the hand to like get it furthest away. I'm like, trying to drink it. Jesus Christ. Yeah. I tell you what, how we got out of there with our lives, I'll never know. We could have been buried in car park and no one would have ever known. Yeah. It'd have been a famous cold case on ITV.
It was a real surreal situation, because you're right, I think we got the bus at about 10 a.m. We got breakfast somewhere, and it was only our second pint, but they'd clearly been in all night.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All curtains were shut, it was pitch black, and you know what, you can't leave a pub once you've seen this walk out. But we're never going to have 2 pints. And then if you remember, Gav, it was baking hot. We ended up walking around Todd Centre, which is lovely, before the start of the game. Had a few pints outside, went down towards the ground, walked it down towards the ground, and one of the 3 of us were desperate for the toilet.
I know what's coming here, yeah.
It's 5-1 this, it's middle of the afternoon, Todd Centre, baking hot, and one of the 3 of us decides I can't hold it any longer, so go as a little wee behind a tree, which is it's like that ruler. It's the thinnest tree it was, and the lad who was having the wee had the biggest arse of the 3 of us. So almost like Todd Centre got flooded. And then we went in. It was a great game as well, if you remember. Jacques Rudolph was sub-proing for them, and there were a massive storm.
Yeah.
There was a storm.
Yeah, there were, yeah.
That were you playing, Dooch? Can you remember?
I was, yeah. Yeah, I do, yeah. We couldn't leave the ground.
That's right.
The storm was that bad. They closed the road, Joe. Yeah. Closed the road back to Burnley from Tomberton, The fire brigade had to come. So we were stuck in. The game got called off maybe only 2 overs into the second innings, and we were there till maybe 10 o'clock at night because the roads were closed.
Even better than that, Joe, because we thought we won't be there at 10 o'clock or whatever. So me and Nicky didn't have that. We had his cash card on us, but not a lot of cash. And Jez was the only one who had a bobber to on him. So
brilliant.
We were batting our rail. It was big sick, it was brilliant. When he told him that he was the only one who had a bobber to, it was there.
Yeah. because all players were just desperate to get home. You know, they had, we hadn't a care in the world. We had a belly full of beer and just we'll get a lift back somewhere. We were preparing to get our heads down, I think.
Hey, Jess, on a serious note, that might be one for next year. That sort of way.
Yeah.
Are they in our league?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are in first division. Yeah, we'll do that definitely. Go on, Joe Martin.
With you talking about Todd, I don't know if Dooch has got on his envelope, but Gav, I seem to remember at Todd. Did you not twist your ankle?
There's a scorecard. If you have a look on the league website, there's a scorecard where second 11 played at Todd away and Gav batted at 11.
Oh, best number.
Now, you look at it and think, well, why did Gav bat at 11? He were opening bat, or if he were opening, he certainly batted 3, 4, or 5, and he batted at 11. So you're thinking, I wonder what happened there. Explain.
Brilliant. So, well, basically, no, we're not just, it's been having a laugh and what have you, and we get exchanged and we go out onto the field, and there's that little embankment in there from where the gravel bit is, getting down to the ground. We're going out foot warm up, ballooning around and what have you, and anyway, so I starts running out, it goes over on my ankle, and I fell down the embankment. I'm like, and I lands on the pitch, and I thought, so I tried to jump up. Everyone was laughing their head off up there. And obviously, I was a senior player at that point. And I thought, I got up and straight away. But I didn't go and tell Stan and Paul. Grown man, didn't go and tell Stan and Paul. So I'm like, so I tried to join it. It just weren't happening at all. Just weren't happening. So I tried to do something, and it weren't nothing was happening. So I goes up to Paul. I said, I can't play. I said, I can't play. I'm going over. I'm like, what do you mean you're going off? So he storms off on a mad one. So I has to go and tell Stan, well, it's too late to go and get some bugger else now, blah, blah, blah. So I had to go and bat 11, but yeah, basically, I was too busy piss balling around and fell down in embankment at Todd and then had to bat number 11. But I have to say, I've got to be best number 11 that the second league's ever seen, buddy. And I got a red ink to Jez.
And you obviously hurt yourself. It was obviously swats. Your ankle's all swollen up, but you're still prepared to play.
Well, you know what I mean, Jez?
Yeah. Heart of a lion.
I was sitting down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're sitting down.
Has he twisted his ankle? I mean, he didn't have like a war wound or anything like that. He twisted his ankle.
Or he hasn't broken his neck, Jez.
I've had to eat in my pocket. Joe, what do you mean?
Jez Oak played with a broken neck.
Yeah, true. Levels.
So no, that's it's great reminiscing. Another one that someone tweeted in a direct message about you've talked about your dad. What a great fella, came down, supported you. We've all had lovely few pints with him, and top banana. What a man. Someone's put in about him umpiring a game where you were playing as a junior, and you got I think you got an hat trick, and then you skied one. And just about the fielder's going to catch it, he shouts no ball. Can you give us any truth in what happened in that game?
They are absolutely, Jez, and I'm owed $1 million more from the game of cricket. Let me tell you, bring it on. The amount of times I've been given out as a left-hander LBW, and it's pitched outside leg stump, and it's going to hit, no problem. When it's pitched outside, the game owes me $1 million more than whatever I got given. Let me tell you that.
He didn't ask you that. He asked you about your dad. You getting 5 wickets when your dad won.
I remember it slightly different way. The game I remember were at juniors were Bake Up away. I can't remember his name, but he were really. He were our age, and he were really quick. But then he got a back injury, and he ended up being a batter. Played first in cricket, decent player, and a good lad as well. His name's dry. But anyway, he opened bowling from Houses End. And you can see it, first ball of the game, stumps everywhere. Dave Shields, no ball! Get in! Didn't really make much difference. I was changing rooms not so long after that. But no, and actually, I don't think I ever got that.
No, you got 5 wickets in the third team game, definitely.
I got a five for down at Burnley. And let me tell you, Jez, there were no Harrys about that. They were all big, massive in-swinging deliveries, and I think you'll find them all right.
Fantastic. The beauty of that is, Gav, you've not thrown your teddies out and say it's ridiculous. Whoever's said that on social media, they haven't got the balls to come and ask me to my face. You've actually said it. What a great story that is. That your dad's umpiring, you get bowled by a fantastic bowler, and he has the balls to say no ball. And
absolutely.
You're right, Gav. It's mother cricket. Mother
Hey,
Cricket,
yes,
she
yes.
works.
To be fair, Big
Gilda
Dave Shields has
Creek.
done me out with his tea that night. He's done a full day's graph.
Yeah.
He's gone home, hasn't had any tea, has to take his lad out to play cricket. He wants to watch his lad get a few.
Exactly, not in
No problem
bowl.
with that, Jez. No problem with that, mate.
You don't want to watch him bowl. Go on, Joe Martin.
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
mate.
One of my most favourite memories of your dad, Gav, is we once went to watch Aki Stanley play, and we were walking. We'd gone in through the turnstile and were walking past the stand, and we looked up and we saw Brian Laws sat in the stand, and David Moyes sat a chair over, and I went like nudging my dad and saying, "Look, it's Brian Laws and David Moyes, one Everton manager and one's Burnley manager." And then right at that moment, your dad sat in between them.
And
then started talking to him.
Bowler's brass, and I told him what he thought as well. The shoes are eggs, lad. And I told him what he thought as well.
Good lad.
No problem with that.
Brilliant.
No problem with that at all.
So that brings us on to it. It wasn't Joe Martin, I don't think, but one of the younger members. We have and again, it's probably worthwhile mentioning this to the people who listen. You know, it might sound shambolic, might this housecast, but we do quite a bit of prep. We have various WhatsApp groups which we invite the guest onto, so we talk them through the process. And then we also, between us, there's 6 or 7 who were like, let's call us the organising committee, and we discuss topics, we discuss guests, etc. And we talked about your bowling, Gav, within this WhatsApp group, and about I think Joe Duke said about you getting these 5 wickets, and someone said, "Crack, I didn't know he bowled," and what did he bowl? So I was describing it as Chris Harris. You remember the pro from Rabbit? Used to run in, almost bowl off the wrong foot, proper open chested and bowl big in swingers. I personally thought you were a useful, change bowler in the second team. Did you enjoy the bowling side of it? Was it something you wanted to progress, or did you just piss about like you loved?
Typical batter, Jez. It's bowler's game. It's a piece of piss bowling. You get 6 chances an over. You get to bowl 14 overs at a time in twos. It's a bowler's game. So I used to give it bigger, and I used to bowl at nets. This is really easy. And I remember when Stanford started, we used to bowl, and I used to bowl a bit of a leg cutter, and I was just messing around at nets, like just joking around and turning around and bowling. And I must have bowled all right when Stan were watching. And anyway, he picked me in the 3rd team game to bowl, and it was horrific. I didn't know how to do me run, right? I didn't know how to do me run up or anything. No one had talked to me about it, right? I was just pissing around at nets, Jez. Honestly, right? And bowling with a dead arm because Marcus had whacked me or something. And so I'm stood there, at the end of my run up, everyone's looking at me, and I'm like, I don't, what? I don't know. So I couldn't let go of it. Then I let go of it too early, and then I stopped rolling my wrist over it and tried to bowl with a straight wrist. It was horrific. I think I got took off after 3 overs. I gone for 1 million. It was horrific. But hey ho, I was still better than Beneducci. I still turned it more than him.
They were just big leg cutters, weren't they, all the time?
Absolutely. But like I say, I still turned it more than Bennett.
Well, since you mentioned that, for those who don't know, me and Gav have been pals away from cricket for a long time, and a long period of that has been us trying to get one over on each other. That's fair, isn't it?
Absolutely. And
yeah.
Can I? Sorry.
So no, hang on. I've got 2 tales that kind of sum it up, and unfortunately, they both involve drink. I'll go because you're the guest. I'll give you your success second. But my success over you was that day when you were on phones at Ensley.
Yeah.
And me, Matt, and Matt Hope and Dave Gardner had played golf on Friday morning, and we got Friday afternoon off to go on beer. And we were sat in big window, I think, and we got wind that Gav had to go on reception at Ensley in afternoon. So we were sat in big window drinking and amusing ourselves just by ringing him up all day. And even though he knew it were us, he still had to answer it because he were answering for the entire company. So we just ring him all afternoon.
And it got even worse, Jez and Joe, right? We then moved to Witherspoons, right? So if I leant forward off reception seat, I could see him in window, ringing, and I just had to go, "Good afternoon, Gavin Shields. How can I help?" Great gag, absolutely.
It's so childish, so
you,
simple, but it was brilliant.
It was brilliant. What can you do?
But Gav's finest hour against me was we both used to work in town when we were kids, like 18, 19. We both had office jobs in Burnley, and we both wore suits to work when we were like 18, 19. We did really think we were kings of the town. And we'd either meet for his dinner. We'd go to a pub for his dinner sometimes, but we'd sometimes go out after work on a Thursday for a beer on a Thursday in a suit. And sometimes we'd just go out for a couple of pints. Sometimes we'd stay out till 10 o'clock. Sometimes it'd get worse than that. There were a nightclub called VIPs in town that were open on a Thursday. So this one particular night, we'd gone out, we'd had a few beers after work, we'd stayed a bit later than we should. We ended up in VIPs and we were like drinking. It's late. Keep looking at our watches thinking it's Thursday night, we've got work in the morning. We're going to have to wear this suit for work that we've got on now, that we're in a nightclub in, that people were smoking in. So anyway, we completes the night, stays out till kicking out time, and goes for some food, and then we get a taxi home. Let's share a taxi home. Drop you off first, Joe. Then I'll go. I'll get it. Taxi can take me home. So taxi's on going to take me home, and we drive down my front street. And as I'm getting out of the taxi, I said, Gav, it's going to be horrendous at work tomorrow. It's going to be a longest day ever. And he went, what are you on about? I booked day off. I haven't.
And prior to that, right, for about an hour or so, Benny been going, I've had to shoot off and get a kebab. I'm like, no, I want to have one more. I want to have one more. You real dudes, get in.
So it was probably like 2:30 in the morning, and I had to be at work at like, I don't know, 8:30 the day after. And Gav didn't get out of bed till dinner time.
Did you not have a race as well?
Sorry, go on.
Did you not have a race as well?
Oh, yeah, Jordan likes to talk about that because I nailed him. However, there was another one as well, weren't there, Benny, where we went out for a few beers on a Saturday. And do you remember when Lennox Lewis were fighting Azim Ratman?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And Benny, obviously, likes a bet, doesn't he? He bet on 2 raindrops going down window with Benny, wasn't he? And anyway, so we're having a few beers, and he's going, do you know what? I think Ratman's going to do Lewis tonight. I'm like, you idiot. As if. He'll beat him with one hand behind Daddy's back. I think he's surrounded. He'll hammer him. So anyway, so over the course of the day, I've managed to talk Benny round. Give me your money. If you're that desperate to give me money, give it me. So anyway, it's a big do's and little do's. Gav, you're right. I won't bother. What happened? Text me the day after. Azim Ratman's not letting Lewis have his champion at world.
25-1 he were in the 2 horse race.
Hey!
Only myself to blame for that.
Well, I just wonder now, Joe. I think Duke. I think Gav's 2-1 up. You're gonna have to start getting your finger out and getting him back.
Well, I don't know. I broke his toe, didn't I? So maybe that's 2-2 for this podcast episode.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. So I've not many other stories on here. There's just one that we got a scorecard in for, Gav, about you being out hit wicket. Can you remember that?
Yeah, I can.
What happened then? Because that's a rare dismissal.
Yeah, I can. Enfield at home, Joey Ball, bowling from the pavilion at car park end, and I've been managing to pull him, and I just got too big of a stride. Unfortunately, there's no big great tail, but just got too big of a stride and stepped back on my stumps. Unfortunately, I hit it for 4, but excuse me, unfortunately, I stepped on my stumps and I had to get gone. But it was a shame because we had a little stand on them, but
yeah.
But I've got another great tale about Benny if you want that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, crack. I mean, that game, I've got the scorecard here, Gavin.
Oh, yeah.
And Joe got a duck.
Well, weekend, weren't it?
Go on, tell us that other tale then, Gav.
So, it was that bootleg Aggers' recording reminded me of it, jogged my memory. When he told you about he got thrown out to that boozer for getting battered by olive oil. Well, if we go a little bit further in that night, we're in B&B, and Beneducci walks downstairs. He thinks he's a bit of a dresser, and he's not. And anyway, so he walks downstairs, giving the big one. That was a soundtrack going or whatever. Obviously the word. And he walks in, and he's got a cardigan on. He's in his mid-20s. He's got a cardigan on. So anyway, Bruno must have been stopping injuries. And anyway, so everyone lays into it. Oh, but they've had cardigan, this, and this, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, typical Benny. Shut it, what do you know about that? chest out, bats it all off, no problem. So we're all like giggling behind his back. So we goes out, and anyway, Aggers ends up getting, there's a bit of commotion, and I'm going to gents. So I see Aggers gets turfed out. So obviously, being Aggers' mate, see one of your mates get turfed out, you want to make sure he was all right, don't you? So I followed him out at fire exit, and Olive Oil's going through, and I'm going like, oh, calm down. And as there usually is in the town centre on a Saturday night, a couple of bobbies wander over. Well, one of them's, police officer, and one of them's a woman. And by this point, by the time Olive Oil stopped battering angry, all lads have started spilling out at Boozer. And Benny swans out like his bloody King Dingling, or swans out. And we all starts laughing again. And actually, the woman police officer turns around to Beneducci and goes, yeah, nice cardigan, mate. So he even got rinsed by Rosses. Rosses were even handing
She weren't being sarcastic. She gave me a number.
Yeah, whatever. What were it, 999?
Was that the same Blackpool trip where you ran into the back of that van?
Oh, that was beauty, weren't it? That. Yeah.
Why did you run into the back of a van?
So what?
Why did you run into the back of a van?
Well, because when I'm walking through Blackpool Central Avenue, blah blah blah, and this fire truck drives past, and sometimes when you've had a few lemonades, you just get daft ideas, don't you? And it stopped, and it was driving past probably about 1-2 mile an hour. I thought, I'm going to jump. Why? So I tried to jump up back of it, and the driver obviously saw me, and right at the last minute as I jumped, he slammed brakes on. So I jumped, he slammed brakes on, went boom, right into the back. Nearly broke every bone in my face. I turned around, and all lads were on the floor laughing with their legs up.
Roped off that van.
Well, hey, what can I say?
Roped off. Yeah, we got a few photos through about your. We've not talked about the second team trips to Blackpool. We've got a few photos through. Are you singing Ring of Fire? Some photos of Scott and Will Driver and Adam and Aggers looking about 12.
Yeah.
Nearly said something that would need to be put out, but all looking a bit different. It was fantastic. We had some good response from it all. Joe Martin, if we look to wrap it up in the next 10 or 15 minutes, anything else that we want to talk to him about?
I don't. I mean, should we discuss? You once ran the gauntlet, then you had to stop Mickey Lee running the gauntlet once, I think, as well, Gav.
You best explain what the gauntlet. You best explain what it is, Joe.
All right, sorry. The gauntlet is something that the cricketers used to do at the club when they were a bit drunk, where they used to get the stools and put them in like a foot pattern. I guess that's the best only way I can think of describing it. And you had to walk across or run across the stools without falling off. The bar stools without falling off was the gauntlet. There's some videos on YouTube of it.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there was. So I think there's a video of Gav doing it, and I can remember the night that he had to defend Mickey Lee, stop Mickey Lee doing it.
Yeah, we had a big game day after. We left about 14 overs. First team went, go on. Stop now. Get them all. We started in 4 hours, but we're all down 3 hours skip.
Do you remember doing it yourself, though?
Absolutely, mate. Well, listen, you've got to, haven't you? If you get dead, you've got to play the game, haven't you? And I didn't give my best shot, and unfortunately, my belly still hasn't gone down.
We'll maybe put a link out. We'll maybe put a link out to that video when we release the podcast.
How did it come about?
No idea.
Yeah.
I know how it came about. It was just a drunk idea. It was just a drunk idea. One bank holiday Sunday.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Do you remember your 30th, Jess, to Newcastle?
Yeah.
Surely we'd have only been 6 or 7 at that stage.
Well, it weren't his 30th, Benny, would it? But I'm trying to get another classic at Eaton's expense. We're all out on the Saturday, weren't we? We were out all Saturday night, and Ben, and all of a sudden, Stan's mobile phone goes, "You all right, Joe? It's Joe, you all right?" Joe says, "No, Stan, I'm lost. What do you mean? What can you see?" "Oh, Stan, I can only see. I can see water." Stan says, "Right, I know where you are. Stay still. Do not move." So he says to us all in Boozer, "Right, I'm going to find Beneducci. I'll be back shortly. No problem." So Stan bolts out at Boozer. 2 minutes later, Beneducci swans in laughing. He's only been stood right corner doing a prank call to Stan. So 45 minutes later, Stan comes back in. articles on the end of his nose. Right, Beneducci, that's it. Me and you are through. Do you remember that? And we were all proper belly laughing at him.
Yeah.
Great gag, that Benny. Absolute great gag, mate.
There were, and because there were quite a few of them, certainly from you Rugrats, because mobile phones were relatively new, certainly for the likes of me and Stan, and I know you lot were probably brought up on it. But it was a case of, when someone's phone went off and other people were around, the phone's going off, the phone's going off, everyone, the phone's going off. So that's what everyone were doing to Stan, and I think Joe Beneducci thought I'll get one better and go outside.
Brilliant. Rinsed him good and proper. It's brilliant.
Gav,
can you remember?
Sorry, John. I was going to say, can you remember when you convinced Stan that Hawkey's girlfriend was called Tracy?
Oh, that one of the best ones ever.
We'll probably have to, I don't know, we'll have to cut this out, but...
Oh, brilliant. Right, you know what Stan's like? He's holding court in Clubhouse, giving it bigger. And he's like, even bigger sole of his pants, giving it all that. And then Hawkey and his missus were, at the time, were getting ready to go and what have you. And he says, Shieldsy. He's been, bearing in mind, he's been trying to rinse me for the last 3/4 of an hour. He goes, Shieldsy, what's Hawkey's missus called? And proper dead. I had about 3 pounds, I can't remember. I said, Tracy. He went, cheers, Shieldsy. He went, see you, Hawkey. See you, Trace. and everyone said, everyone started. He turned around to me. I honestly, I thought he would have tried and batter it. Brilliant. Shields won, Eton nil. Brilliant.
Gav, what about the infamous party at the Payne's house and the game of cricket the day after? What do you remember about
that? I remember us getting a lift, getting us dropped off in the morning in back of a van, and then we got to game
at Nelson.
Yeah, we got to game at Nelson, and we went for a jog for his warm up, and one or two were sick running round ground. They were terrible. They were embarrassing. And but we'd only literally started. We were still drinking it back at the van, weren't we? In the morning. And
you might have been, I weren't.
Yeah, whatever. You're a shandy boy. And anyway, big dude's a little bit. Beneducci. What worked crap? You bowled, didn't you? But bowls a ball, it gets smashed. Someone dives, shars at stumps. No one's backing up, so they run again. We run and field it. Turn around, throw, shars again. No one's backing up again, so we run again, dive, throw it. Giant stumps, and Beneducci by this point has lost it. They ran about 7 off about 1. Beneducci stands there and is going, what is going on? It's a disgrace. And they ran another one like bowler at his feet. But the first ball of the game, the first ball that you bowled, it got smashed halfway up motorway Mangan, didn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And everyone were laughing. Oh, it was brilliant.
Penny had already been sick behind stumps.
Yeah.
Oh,
good day, that.
Brilliant.
Good day.
And did you? Yeah. And did you not run me out on 49 that game as well?
I was trying to think if that was. I don't think it was the same game, and I didn't run you out. What happened were I didn't run you out. What happened was I came out to bat, and you were already late 40s, and you're on 49 and hit one, and you set off for a run, and I sent you back because it was never a run. And then the next ball, you were out. So you blame me because you blame me for not getting 50 because we didn't take the run.
Yeah, but Wills were Stangover. What 50? I've got 49. I tell you what, there were 1.5, nearly a 2. Beneducci sat on his back angle. No. And I got a dubious LBW, probably one that pitched outside.
Yeah.
Again, Jez. So Dave Shields can give me all he wants. No problem.
Mother cricket, Gav.
Absolutely.
Mother cricket. Gav, is there anything you want to bring up or clarify or chat through with us? Because I'm having some great fun here. If there's anything else you want to talk to us about and we can talk through.
There was just one that when I listened to Marquis's, which I really enjoyed. I've listened to the majority and they've been fantastic. But there was one story that I thought Marquis was going to tell and he didn't, so I'll share it. And again, Stan won't mind because he's a great raconteur himself. It unfortunately is at Stan's expense. We're playing at home one day, and I weren't playing out. And any opportunities, we all know, he gets his t-shirt off, doesn't he? And anyway, second innings, we're batting, and me and Marquis are lapping. And as we've walked past groundsman's zone, Marquis goes, look what I've got. And he swipes Stan's t-shirt. So he's like, real dude, I'll have a bit of fun with this. It's absolutely no problem. So it carries on round. And anyway, Marquis stashes it in changing room. Stan don't realise for a while. And as he's going back up for a brew, he walks past dressing room, does Stan, and he says, right, lads, I know one of you using it with t-shirt. So great gag, ha ha ha. Well, give me back, will you? Okay. Yeah, right, I don't know about Stan. So another half an hour goes by. He goes, brings back his cut back. He says, lads, it's a bit too far now. I want my t-shirt back. You've had your fun now. Well, Stan, what are you on about? It's probably like Graham's Hut or something. I don't know. Whatever, I want it back. Whatever. Another hour goes by. He walks past up. Right, lads, I've had enough now. It's not funny. It's not funny. You've had your fun. I want it back. And I'll tell you why I want it back. Because I've got some people coming back down at 5:30 to have a look at Clubhouse. So they might rent it for a do. And I'm having to show them around. I'm having to greet them. So I want it back. Right, well, Stan, you better start looking for it, haven't you? Because we don't know where it is. Proper, like, giggling like school one. So anyway, so he walks off chuntering under his bed. So anyway, so he comes back up like 10 minutes before these people are due to arrive. And he comes back up. You can imagine, I want my t-shirt now. Whoa. That's Stan. No, we don't have a clue. We don't even know what you're on about. So he carried on walking, shouting as he was walking, goes into the clubhouse, right? And all of a sudden, we look down, we can hear a car pulling onto the ground. And this woman, and obviously her mum, gets out and start walking up the drive. And then we hear this noise to his right, and we look up, and Stan starts coming out of the clubhouse, walking down steps, and he's got his shorts on, his groundsman's boots, no top on, and a half his vest. And he went to meet and greeted this couple with that on, and he had to walk past us all, and he really meant it, and we were proper sniggering like hell. Oh, and they were furious, they were. And then while they were doing that, Marcus ran down and put his t-shirt back on and roller, and then ran back, and he went, oh, I will live it. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, that's brilliant, that guy. And it's probably worth mentioning at this point for people who are just about to have the tea that Stan has got permanently erect nipples.
He has, yeah. Yeah. But like I say, absolutely brilliant. And I know I've told a few there at Stan's expense, but I'm sure he won't mind, and he gives as good as he gets. But yeah, no, very funny, very funny.
Yeah, because when you two get together, certainly a little bit like Lauren Hardy. I've heard the last couple of years you've had to take him home. You had to escort him. Well, can't really. Although there were once he accused. I walked him home, and he rang me after. He went, "Where are my glasses?" I said, "I don't know. What do you keep?" That face then. I don't know. Well, you've obviously taken them home. Why would I have taken them home? Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even the last time where you had them. And if I find them in a bush, he's gone. But his first thing was to accuse me of nicking him. But like I say, great bloke. But I'm sure he won't mind me a few tales at his expense.
What about that tale he told on Christmas special about kicking his telly in on Christmas Eve that time? The funniest bit about that whole story was not the fact that he kicked his telly in, it's the fact that he said he walked home and he weren't pissed.
Yeah. I have a powerful mind.
Yeah, and he'd been out boozing like all day.
Yeah.
I weren't drunk. I managed to tell Caroline.
What did he get? The Spanish Civil War or something?
Something like that.
Oh, the
Russian Revolution.
Russian Revolution, that was it, yeah.
In 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Jez, do you remember that time when he got kicked out at Green Hill for farting?
Yeah, of course I do. So I nearly got my membership expunged.
Me and you were trying to drink pints too quick, so we'd have to get him what were we trying to get him drinking? Cinzano, yeah, but yeah, reached him. Me and Jez were trying to down our heads off, so we'd have to get him a Cinzano.
Yeah, funny stories. Good. They will be back soon. They will be back, so we can continue it face to face. But the Zooms are good, keeping us going. Right, we're getting through here. It's getting late on. Is there anything else you want to bring up for us, Gav?
No, absolutely not. No, I'd just like to say thanks very much for having us, and I've really enjoyed the podcast so far. They've been great during lockdown. They brought a lot of laughs and a lot of smiles and a lot of reminiscing. So firstly, thanks very much for that, and thank you for inviting me on. And sorry it's taken me so long to accept your invitation, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and thanks very much.
No, good, Gav. We've really appreciated it, and and we knew that you'd be good fun. We knew that we'd have some good crack around it all. For anyone else out there, if you fancy coming on, you've got to be a Lowerhouse player though. If you fancy coming on, give us a shout. We can talk through anything you want to talk through, and have a good old reminisce and almost like being lent against the bar. Gav, we really appreciate you coming on. Before we go, Joe Martin, anything before you turn the lights off in West End room?
No, that's been superb.
No, that's good. Dooch, your old mucker. It's been a good fun, hasn't it? It's been good fun.
Excellent, yeah, excellent. I'm glad he agreed to do it finally. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. Right, thanks very much for everything that's gone on in this podcast. Really enjoyed it. Until the next one, thanks very much, everyone, and goodbye.
Order! Send more house to save the house!